Hi there, folks. Welcome. It's Meg Lavelle. We're fashionably late to the main event with Meg Lavelle. And we have another jam packed episode for you this evening with my friend of both me and you, Ethan Scott, the voice of Maine. Ethan, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm been excited for this ever since we planned this night, so I am ready to go.
Well, Ethan, you have a lot of big things that have, big landmark milestones, if you will. About your career in professional wrestling. And I can't wait to hear about it. And I know our fans are too. Now, remember, folks, tonight throughout this podcast, I would love to see our fans out there blow the comments up with questions for Ethan, for the both of us. Let us really hear it because throughout the show, we're going to go ahead and pop in and take questions from our audience tonight. So if you have a good one, you know what to do. All right. So Ethan, for our fans that were unable to catch our Rumble episode a couple weeks ago or a week or so ago, introduce yourself.
Well, I am Ethan Scott. I am the voice of Maine. I am a ring announcer, backstage interviewer, commentator. I kind of fit wherever anyone in Maine needs me. I've been doing this now for 12 years. My 12-year anniversary just recently passed for being in wrestling as a whole, and my 9 years as a ring announcer shortly thereafter. It's kind of funny how both of them fall so close to each other.
That's
Um,
amazing.
I've worked for pretty much almost every promotion in the state of Maine. I'll be making my MPW debut next month, leaving Crown of Maine, the only place I haven't worked in the state that is actively running. So I'm proud to have been able to work for like so many companies within my own home state.
That's amazing. And sometimes it's, a lot of people think, Maine, not much goes up there, until, except Stephen King. But honestly, like there's so much up here as far as the professional wrestling industry goes. And some of some of WWE's top superstars actually have come from the great state of Maine, such as Sky Too Hottie. Dango, I believe, is from Maine, correct? Yes.
Dango,
Okay.
Big Show grew up in Maine in his youth. He actually used to play basketball in the state of Maine. Um,
Excellent.
I watched his like a WWE documentary they did about him like years ago,
Oh, right
and
on.
there's a picture of his dad in their barn, and there's like a sign with a bunch of different Maine towns like pointing in different directions,
Yes.
and he lived. I think he grew up in like the town right next to where I grew up, so I think that's pretty neat.
That's super cool. I was gonna say, and of course, Tony Atlas, one of my most favorite people I've ever worked with in the business. We love Tony. We love
Tony's great.
Tony. Oh my gosh. If you have an open ear, folks, and some time, Tony Atlas has some tales for you, and they're some of the most treasured stories I have in my memory. I'm sure you can agree with me on that also, Ethan.
Oh yes.
Excellent. So, yes, as Ethan stated, I mean, in the business for 12 years, and he just added a new company to his resume, which is the company that I work for, Maine Premier Wrestling. I am the voice of Maine Premier Wrestling. Ethan is going to be doing backstage interviews and commentary in ringside. So, I would actually like to take a moment to just say, welcome to the Maine Premier Wrestling family, Ethan. It is an honor to work with you and to be part of the voices of Maine Premier Wrestling. So
I
I'm excited to have you on and working alongside you there and having you here tonight on the podcast.
I'm super
So,
excited for March. It's gonna be my March is busy. Like my March is busy. I'm super excited.
yeah, I was going to say, I know, yes, you're heavily booked. And as I mean, MPW has a show, our big anniversary shows coming up on March 13th, another Friday the 13th event, which is pretty cool in my hometown of Skowhegan, Maine. So that's going to be super cool. But then if you folks are loving the main event with Meg Lavelle, tune in because we have 4 episodes scheduled for next month, folks. So we are going to be busy. We are looking at 1 week having 2 episodes. So
Damn.
yeah, tune in. So Ethan, excuse me being a super squirrel here. I'm sure you're used to it by now, knowing me, and our fans as well. Um, where did your love of professional wrestling begin?
So I had a friend who lived down the road, And his older brother constantly had pro wrestling on TV, always had the video games out. So like that's how I was introduced to pro wrestling.
Right.
My first wrestling game was the original SmackDown versus Raw for the PS2, and I played the hell out of that. It was so much fun. Um, and it really it was that's really just where it all began. It's kind of funny. Video games have kind of helped introduce me into like a lot of my hobbies. Like I got into metal through Guitar Hero back in the day. Um, I got into hockey through playing NHL with my brother. Like it's it's kind of wild how much video games have shaped who I am right now.
No, so it's funny because I also like my love for professional wrestling also like amped up a little bit extra with I'm gonna age myself a little bit here. Raw is War for PlayStation 1. That I don't know, something about making your own characters and like the music and everything, like you said, like it's great how it just stemmed into all of that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, by far. So that's neat. So when you first started watching professional wrestling and was really getting into it, which wrestlers caught your eye? Which ones like hooked you in and just dragged you in?
So I started watching around 05, 06 during the Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah.
And I primarily watched SmackDown just because it was on earlier than Raw. I think Raw started at 9 on Spike, and then SmackDown started at like 8 at UPN. So I was allowed to watch SmackDown. But guys like Eddie Guerrero, Batista, Rey Mysterio, The Undertaker, like all caught my eye. Like with Batista, just the size he was, like just dumbfounded me. I'm like, how is this human being that big? And then of course the Undertaker being this weird magical force, like undead force in pro wrestling. I'm like, how I like it just blew my mind as a kid. And of course Eddie and Ray, like Eddie being one of my favorites of all time. Like those two knew how to draw you in with the story they were telling in the ring, like other than just like storylines going on, but just like really capture your attention with everything they did. And those were the ones that
Mhm.
really kind of caught my eye at first.
Yes, absolutely. Those are definitely some names that really stand out for the Ruthless Aggression era. I love the fact that I don't know, like with every interview that I've done through here, everyone has a different era that they were introduced to. Like I am like early stage attitude era, and then you're coming on and you're like we talk about ruthless aggression. My husband was like pre attitude era, like Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Jake the Snake, those folks there. I don't know, it's neat how just different eras and stuff. And then years from now we're going to hear kids talking about, oh yeah, the Paul Levesque era. At this point though, which era is that? Because that era seems to change like every year. It's a new
It's a
era.
new era. You said
Yeah.
that 3 months ago. Like how many new eras do you need?
It's like 2.0, 3.0. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's how it's looking, but you know what? He has, he's he'll iron it out for sure. We'll finally
Hopefully.
get an era. Um yeah, that's just so cool. So what like made you like really like what made you realize like when did it click that oh my gosh, this is an industry I want to be part of. I got to get my foot in the door.
So uh it was during the WWE ECW era, and I know that era is not really looked fondly on, but it was a house show in Bangor, and one of the matches it was Tommy Dreamer versus John Morrison for the ECW World Title, and I made like a big sign for Tommy, like had fake blood drawn on all the letters Innovator of Violence, and I was like third row on hard cam side. So
Oh,
like no, or not hard cams, like the side the camera would be, not the side that the camera looks at.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, okay.
and I like he heard me loud and clear. He had me show the sign, and I was like 13 years old, I think, or no, it was right before my 13th birthday, and he
Okay.
was wearing the ECW Originals shirt that he wore during the feud with like the New Breed, and him, Sandman, Sabu, and Van Dam, and Balls Mahoney. I think that match happened at like Mania 23, 22, I think maybe 22. Um, and at the end of the match, he comes over to me at the guardrail, says, "Hey, where's your sign? Show everybody." And as I have my back turned, he takes the shirt off and hands it to me. And actually, it's right behind my monitor. And I have it framed. And because of Limitless Wrestling bringing in Tommy Dreamer many years ago, I actually got a sign and was able to tell him about that story. And it was like just that moment kind of like sparked me wanting to get into pro wrestling. Like I wanted to be a wrestler at that point.
Wow, that is an amazing story. I love like moments like that. Like, you know, like you see, like one of the ones that stands out to me is that infamous scene with AJ Lee meeting Lita and crying because she's getting her stuff autographed, and then like
Yeah.
fast forward to now, you know what I mean? That's I love that so much. And now you also, what was it, last year we Tommy Dreamer was up here in the great state of Maine for a Limitless show, correct? Yes.
Yep. I was at VLC. It was the System versus Tommy. Oh, Bear. I am trying to remember who else is in it. I feel horrible. I cannot remember who else was in that match. Oh my god, I feel horrible. I'm sure I can find it, but yeah, it was that year's VLC, and that was really cool to see him back up here again. Like Tommy getting the big ECW chant, which like still always gives me goosebumps anytime I hear like those three letters chanted, and which
C-Dub.
kind of
Yeah.
going back to that show, like when Tommy and I think Stevie Richards were like the only like ECW original guys on that show, like the whole Bangor Auditorium, when it was still the auditorium, was chanting ECW, and it was like goosebumps. It was so cool.
I love that so much. Like, yeah, those chants really, really get you going. Like, even like something as simple as the holy shit chants when I went to the Limitless Rumble. Yes, guys, I'm still talking about it, and I'm not
It
going to
was
shut
such
up
a good
about it.
show. It
It
was
was
such a good
the
show.
best show ever. And I'm sure, you know, it will probably still be the best show that I've ever been to for Limitless, but I plan on going to more. But who knows? Randy Carver could pull another like massive rabbit out of his hat and just blow us away yet again. Um, but yeah, so what made you though? So, all right, ECW inspired you to like want to be a professional wrestler. What what said, hey, I'm gonna be a ring announcer?
Before I get into that, I just found the results. It was Seabass Finn that teamed with Tommy and Bear. It was going to
Yes,
kill me if I didn't remember. I feel bad because I love Seabass.
I do
Um,
too.
yeah, Bass is great. So I never really thought I'd be a ring announcer. There was until one show. It was IWE. It was around the time Sonny and Bomb owned IWE along with
Mhm.
Hobo Joe, and our usual ring announcer, who was from Canada, couldn't make it. Like something happened at home. He couldn't come over. We didn't find out till the day of. So I'm there. I'm getting sound set up, and Joe comes up to me and says, "Hey, you want to ring announce for tonight? Like we need an announcer. You can just sit behind the table and do it. I know you don't really have any like dress clothes with you." And I was so nervous. I'm just sitting behind the bell table. I have my piece of paper with everybody's info on it, and I did that for the whole weekend because we didn't have that ring announcer like either the Friday or the Saturday show. And after that weekend, they're like, "Hey, if you want to keep doing this, like we will have you as our ring announcer." So that was really what kicked me into doing ring announcing. I whenever I share like my time ring announcing, like the anniversary, it's always the very first show that I officially announced. Because like I don't count like the first month because I wasn't like in the ring. I was just I just had like baggy jeans on and a hoodie, sitting behind a sound table. But like the first month, I actually properly ring announced is always February, and that's when that's when that kind of all started. I just realized I kind of just rambled for a second.
Hi, have we met? Like, um, so you're telling me we have Joseph Primer to thank for you becoming a ring announcer?
Pretty much. And it's really funny because I used to do the Primers Inc. sketches with him and Crash Landing back in the day, where
Oh my
he
gosh.
was my boss, and then he like gets me an opportunity to be a ring announcer. So like it really is thanks to Joe that I'm where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. So folks, Ethan brought up a really cool point here. I do want to just take a quick moment to plug in, tune in to our Facebook and YouTube channels, because coming up in just a couple of short weeks here, we have the premiere of Prime Time with Legends, hosted by my husband, Johnny Primer, who was actually a guest on our Rumble episode. And his first guest, as announced a couple days ago, is none other than the man that we have to thank for Ethan Scott. That's right, folks. Joseph Primer, aka Hobo Joe, is going to be the first guest on Prime Time with Legends. So stay tuned on the Facebook pages and on YouTube, and we will make sure we fill you in on that amazing new show. Definitely can't wait for that. So we have that. Is such a cool story though, about, as I knew, because I've always asked John, I'm like, if I like, oh, how did this person get started and that person get started? I'm like, how did Ethan get started? And I'm like, was he like, did he, I just couldn't figure it out. And he's like, I think he was just a fan at a show. And I'm like, okay. That's kind of the story of how John and I got together was. But yeah, that's so neat how things like that can happen. Being a ring announcer myself, like, I'm definitely not as seasoned as you are, for sure. But, it just, you got to take that step. You got to take that opportunity. Like, my first show was for a company called Vacation Land Pro, as I'm sure you know. Um, and they're like, what are we going to do? Our ring announcer can't make it. And they want Alexander Lee to announce, but he was doing something else for somewhere. And I'm just like, hi, I can do it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm bored. I'm a wrestler's wife. I'm bored. I don't want to sit and listen to wrestler wives talk drama all night. Let me do it. And so ran home, got a black dress, grabbed a piece of paper and a pen, and away we went. And of course, there'd be a friggin' rumble on the first show that I ever did. And I had no idea what I was doing. Thank God for Randy Carver talking me through it. But yeah, so basically what sparked your interest in getting into the business, you would say, is like the house shows with ECW.
Yep.
Which is awesome. So who gave you your first official booking? It would be IWE, correct?
So I got started with IWE just doing sound when Eric was running it. I do camera, do sound, do a lot of like the production-y stuff. If we're not, so technically yes. If we're counting IWE, technically yes. If we're counting IWE as my home at that point, and I'm going somewhere else, it would actually probably be Larry Huntley doing North Atlantic Wrestling Association, because he needed like a sound tech for something. And Eric was like, hey, Larry needs somebody, couldn't hurt to help him out. But if we're talking ring announcing, other than IWE, it would probably be Randy, because Randy had me on for Limitless for the Do What You Love. And am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
All right. For the Do What You Love and Fuck the Rest Fest, where it was a combination wrestling and a pop punk show.
That's amazing.
Because I had already been announcing for a bit at that point, and Randy's like, "Hey, like, why not give you a shot?" Because it was a show that was basically based around giving people opportunities to show what they have for Limitless Wrestling. I remember Mr. Grimm had a fantastic match with Manny. I forget his last name, but they just seeing a man Grimm's size do the athletic things that he could do, just like jump from the mat to the top rope for a over the belly to belly over the head suplex, and then his jumping spinning tombstone, like, it blew everyone away. That was also the same show I got to announce Sammy Callahan, which at that point when I was in my career, that was like huge for me. I was like, holy shit, I get to announce the Callahan Death Machine. It was him and JT Dunn. And then the main event was it was Take Me Home Tonight, which was Anthony Green and Ace Romero versus the Maine State Posse. That match was really cool.
That sounds like a killer match.
It was a killer match. It was an awesome show overall. And what was really funny is one of the bands, the drummer is someone I went to high school with, and I hadn't seen them in a couple of years. And that was the first time they had ever seen me ring announce, and they were like, "Holy crap, you're really good at this!" I'm like, "Thanks. I haven't been doing it that long. But thanks."
Right.
So yes, technically IWA was probably like my first booking, but if we're thinking like other promotions, it would be for doing sound, it would be Larry Huntley, and then for ring announcing, it'd be Randy Carver.
Right on. Those are some pretty solid companies to work for, especially Larry Huntley's been in the business forever. I know John, I was gonna say my husband and I did a lot of traveling for Larry back when my husband was a professional wrestler. So great guy, killer personality, and he knows how to run a smooth card. Like his shows are short, sweet, and to the point, but it makes you want to come back for more. That's why I absolutely love the fact that he runs fair shows, especially at the Skowhegan State Fair where it runs for like 10 days. So you get wrestling twice a day or twice throughout the day. I mean, it's great. The guy knows his stuff. And then of course, I'm a mark for Randy Carver too. So, like the guy knows what he's doing also. Um, so what would you say? This is a fun question. I actually love this one. What would be so you have been in the business for 12 years.
Yeah.
What would be, and I'll allow you to have like a couple because it's hard to pick just one. Your biggest flex. Like the best, like your favorite interaction with a talent.
So one of my biggest flexes, and this, whenever I'm feeling down about myself, I remember this moment. It was the one of the La Kermesse festivals that Limitless Wrestling was a part of. We had, I think it was like 2 days of wrestling, and one of the days, the opening match was Ace Romero versus All Ego Ethan Page,
Mhm.
and so I got to announce Page. With him being the first match, he was able to watch the rest of the show, and I think it was like after the second or third match, like he's out there like kind of just watching by the sound table, and like as I'm leaving the ring, he looks at me and goes, "You're doing a good job." So like, and that meant like so much. Like I never had like a talent like Ethan Page, who was already well known, well traveled, like on the indie scene, like give me a compliment on my announcing. So like to me, that was like my biggest flex. Like Ethan Page said I did a good job. Um so that was really cool. Where's some other big flexes? I've the fact that I've been able to do like just two Vacation Land Cups, like one during the pandemic and one in front of a crowd, and the one with the pandemic being like such a different VLC where the winner became the Limitless Wrestling World Champion. Like though, like that was such a special moment to be a part of Limitless history. Um, yeah, those are the ones that popped in my head because like that Ethan Page one, like I said, if I'm ever feeling down about myself when it comes to ring announcing, I'll just think like Ethan Page said I did a good job like early on when I had only been doing it for a while. So like, if I was doing good back then, I can only imagine how I'm doing now.
Right. Um, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, so like my biggest like I actually have like a tie of like top flexes as far as ring announcing goes. So that first show that I told you I got kind of like volunteered thrown into for Vacation Land Pro, Tony Atlas just so happened to be working that show. And he needed a mic, so I brought it to him and he handed him the mic. And he does his little, Tony Atlas thing, I think he did like the Pledge of Allegiance and
Does it every single show he's on.
which I love Tony. I love the fact that he loves America, but I just remember when he went to go give the mic back to me, he goes, "You doing a mighty fine job, Mrs. Prama," because that's how my husband introduced him. We're like, "Oh, this is my wife." He's like, "Oh, Mrs. Prama, it's nice to meet you." So the fact that I had a WWE legend, Hall of Famer, Tony Atlas hand me a mic and say, "You doing a mighty fine job." I'm like, "Okay, cool." That definitely lit a fire under my butt to just keep going, like I'm just having fun with it. I'm not looking to be the next, like, Lillian Garcia or whatever. Like, if I could ever get to that point, yeah, cool, whatever. But I'm just having fun with it while I can. But I'm not gonna lie, you've heard this one, you've seen this one. Ken Anderson. We had him up for MPW, what, a year, 2 years ago? I think it was a year ago. Time blends. No, I think it was 2024 that we had Ken Anderson on our show. But as everyone knows, Mr. Anderson has a very infamous line. I will not do it on here because I do not want to scare my neighbors. But the Mr., that whole thing that he does. And I remember I just stood in the middle of the ring and I'm like, okay, here we go. And I did it. And someone got a video of, like, I'm facing them and I couldn't see behind me, but Mr. Anderson's behind me. And he's on the turnbuckle and he's just going with me. And then, after I just say Mr. Anderson, and he goes, and I said Anderson, like I echoed it. And he's like, and then he gets down, he takes the mic from me and he goes, "You did an amazing job, but next time, more bass in it." And I was on such a high, the fact that he said I did a, first off, I nailed it. Secondly, that he said I did a good job. But then I looked at him, and it's on YouTube, folks. But I literally look at Ken Anderson and I go, "More balls, got it," and did the gesture for big balls. And you can hear me say it on the mic. But you know what? I don't care. The fact that he said I did a good job. I'm just like, okay, all right, cool. A chick semi-nailing his thing. Like, yeah, okay, great. Awesome. Gold stars. Did the thing. Oh crap, I closed out my questions.
That's still super cool. Like when I saw that you got to do that, I was so proud of you because I'm like no one, like not everybody gets to announce Mr. Anderson because with that iconic way he does it, like that's what really cemented him when he was in WWE as Mr. Kennedy, and like that just traveled with him. Like the fact that you were able to do that and like he approved of it, like that's so sick.
Well, I even, because we picked him up from the airport, and then proceeded to get pulled over. And then, but the guy was so amazing. He was one of the best talents that we ever had come up here to the great state of Maine. He is a huge Stephen King fan. And I remember he goes, so 2 questions. Can we stop somewhere so I can get some energy drinks? And then I'm probably butchering his voice, guys. I'm sorry. I don't even remember. But then he goes, also, Stephen King lives in Bangor. Could we please stop at his house? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't know, man. We're running late for you to get to the seminar and da-da-da. He goes into the gas station. I Google Stephen King's address. We were 2 minutes away. And I just told him, I looked at my husband and I go, we're going. Our boss can be mad that we're late getting him to the seminar, but we need to take him to go to Stephen King's house. So we did. So that was a cool moment. But I don't know. That was just, like I said, he was one of the best talents to come on. And I remember asking him, oh, are you going to do your tagline, your Mr. Anderson bit? And he goes, well, yeah, but I like to let the ring announcer do it because, and he goes, oh, when am I going to meet him? And I'm just, as I'm driving, I'm like, hi, reaching back to shake his hand. I'm like, hi, that would be me. He goes, oh, it's you. Well, all right. You know what I mean? And it was just, it was so much fun. I love the fact that we can have these moments in our careers, especially to say that we're just a couple of kids from Maine that are huge wrestling nerds. We're living our dream, working in the business. You know what I mean? Yes. Are we where we want to be? It's whatever, but the fact that we've worked with Hall of Famers, superstars, I mean, it just speaks volumes, really. So with this being said, what would be your, and again, you're allowed a couple if you want, your favorite moment or moments in your career?
So probably the entirety of the closed taping era of Limitless Wrestling. That was really when I got to show off what I could do as an announcer. Helped me get in a lot more reps with the road and then just the taped Limitless shows. Having the singles match with Eric on the road, only a handful of people knew that match was going to happen, and like if you watch the footage back, everybody that was sitting down, no one knew. And I love watching their reactions because like you have Mortar and Tyree Taylor like losing their minds. Like everyone's just like on their feet. They want me to beat Eric. That was such a cool moment. My tag match I've had with Eric against VRG and Leonce Giovanni. That was like being able to be in a wrestling match with people there. Like I
Was
never
that at
thought that would
the
happen.
indoor yard sale?
That was the last Let's Wrestle at the indoor yard sale. The last Let's Wrestle of that year. I was so like hyped the entire time. Like I went to the dojo so many times to get ready for it. And Alexander Lee, like I made a joke that because if you look at old pictures of Kevin Steen, like young pictures of Kevin Steen, like if I don't have my goatee, I kind of look like him a little bit.
You do.
And Alexander Lee was like, we need to get a duct tape ES on the back of your shirt. I'm like, we are not duct taping ES on the back of my shirt. Those are some of my favorite moments. Being able to do VLC in front of a crowd of people, like when Rich announced that I was going to be doing it, like that was huge for me because I never thought I'd get to announce in Yarmouth and it be a Vacation Land Cup. Like that was insane.
That's amazing. I was so proud.
Oh, your mic cut out. Yeah, I cannot hear you. One second. Technical difficulties. Gotta love technology. Always just has to mess up. While Megan's figuring out. Oh, wait. I heard that.
Yo, you can hear me now?
Hey, I can hear you now.
Oh, damn it. Okay. Hold on a second, because my like computer is beeping at me saying that it's gonna die. So
that I can see that. I can see that being the issue.
Sorry, folks.
Technical difficulties.
Card subject to change.
I gotta say, I love the Casey Jones mask in the background.
Yes, so that was actually made by Maine's own Mason X.
Oh, I gotta get him to make me one of those. I had an idea for Halloween to be Casey Jones, and I wanted to get a baseball bat and write Jose Canseco on the side. Is the one scene from the live action movie, the Jose Canseco bat. Tell me you didn't pay money for this.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's definitely one of my. We were actually talking about that the other day because I called one of my students Casey Jones the other day, and they're like, "Oh, like the Ninja Turtles?" I'm like, "Well, I was thinking more Grateful Dead reference, but yeah, that works too." And then it just evolved into this huge Ninja Turtles like conversation about the live action movies and which ones we thought sucked. I'm a fan of number 3. Obviously, number 1's my favorite, but my husband thinks I'm crazy for liking like number 3.
I love number 2. Number 2 is my favorite. Toka and Razar, 2 of my favorite just henchmen in all of Ninja Turtles. Like I love Bebop and Rocksteady, but Toka and Razar are awesome.
I'm sorry. A line that we frequently say in my house is, "They're babies."
Yes, that scene, that whole scene right there cracks me up every time. Like I know they're doing like a 35th anniversary showing in Orono of the second movie. I might have to go see that because that's like one of my favorite movies of all time.
You heard that, folks. If you are in the great state of Maine, Black Bear Cinemas is having a Ninja Turtles 2 showing. Follow them. Dates to continue or to be announced. So I'm looking. Sorry. My questions are so unorganized tonight. They're there, but I wrote them in the order they popped into my head. So folks, while I go ahead and find our questions, thank you so much for all tuning in tonight. Don't forget to give us a like, a follow, subscribe, tell all your friends. Let them know this is the hottest podcast that you've been watching in a hot minute, even though tonight was full of a lot of hiccups like mic cutouts and me having to get up and charge my computer because I thought it was charged enough. But anywho, so Okay, so favorite moments of your career. I love that for you. Those were some pretty big moments. And like I said, when I saw that you were announced for VLC, I was like, okay, I barely know this kid from Adam, but I know he's just like me. He's just a kid from Maine that fucking loves wrestling. And I couldn't have been more proud and hyped for you. Like I said, like obviously I've gotten to know you much better like since then and stuff like that. I mean, hell, you work with my husband. Pretty sure you sold me the t-shirt that I'm wearing right now. But what would be so you have worked on a mile long list of amazing promotions, everything from Blitzkrieg to Grind to, Let's Wrestle, NAWA. Um, what would be a bucket list promotion for you?
If we're not going to count any of the big major televised ones, man, it's really hard to it's really hard to narrow them down. Like there's a couple I was thinking about that, like where I would love to go. I'd love to do Green Mountain Wrestling because I've never done anything I don't think I've done any shows. No, I think I've done one show in Vermont, but I've never ring announced on a show in Vermont. So I'd love to do Green Mountain. I'd love to head down to Proving Ground, where Derek Seminetti runs it. Like I'll next time any of the Mainers head down, I'm gonna have to hop into a car, see what I can do down there because I'd love to work with them because I've worked with a lot of people that work there, but I've never been a part of those shows. Trying to think like where else on the indies I'd like to work. If for say whatever reason, I don't know why I'm saying this now, but if like say whatever reason Rich was like, hey, I want to take the day off. Just want to take the day off. Hey, Ethan, you want to come do chaotic for me? I'd do chaotic. Like
Ooh.
that'd be cool. Because I've gone down a couple times and love like helping them set up. They run a really tight ship and their production is amazing. And it's gotten better like as the years have gone on. Like they have like big video walls now and it doesn't feel like an indie show. It's like they have such good production there.
Oh wow.
Like chaotic would be cool. Man, yeah, it's honestly anywhere that'll have me, anywhere that would let me add my voice to their products.
Fair enough.
I just want to announce and just get my voice out there. Oh, another one actually did pop into my head. I'd love to go to Kaizen Pro up in Canada. Covey's promotion. Covey and his crew are some of the nicest folks I've ever met in wrestling, and their shows always look like a blast. Would love to announce up there and just go to Canada, just to experience Canada because I've never been to Canada. Closest I think there was like a Callis show I worked. It was it was like an MEW Let's Wrestle collab, and we were like
Oh yes.
we were right next to the border. Like I took a video of it, sent it to my buddy that lives in Canada. I'm like, you see those trees? You see that line, the line of trees right there? That's where you are.
That's where you are. Um yeah, I've always wanted to go like experience wrestling in Canada. I mean, obviously it's not really that much different than anywhere else on the indie scene, but I don't know, just something about it, the atmosphere and whatnot. Like, we're really good friends with Wesley Pipes, the oh my gosh, beast mode guy there. Oh my god, the muscle beast.
Yep.
Pipes, I'm so sorry if you were watching this and you watched me fumble. That is literally the second big time I have fumbled that man's name. I screwed up because he went up against the masterpiece, Chris Masters, at a show that I worked on.
Yep.
And I said, what did I say? The master beast or the muscle piece or something like that. Like I mixed it up. And of course, Pipes is a heel. He grabs the mic and he's like, "It's Muscle Beast, stupid," like that. And
I mean, that's a good team name for him though. Muscle Beast, like Master Beasts, like
yeah, I think that's why I call him the Master Beast or the Muscle Piece. I think it was the Master Beast, and like it was a joke that it upset me that he said that, and my husband went back in the locker room. He was like, "You upset my wife. What the fuck?" Like and like flipped out on him. And Pipes was like, "Hold on." Like it was wait, but it's just a joke between us now and stuff like that. And the fact that my father saw it got to experience that. My dad was like, "Holy shit, kid, are you okay?" I get a text message from him. He's like, "Two guys called you stupid in the same night. Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, Dad, I'm fine. Like, it's okay,
I
all
will
good."
always, I will always tell the heels if I, especially if it's like, if their name I'm not used to pronouncing. I'm like, if I ever mess up your name, feel free to just yell at me. Like I I announced God, Tabernac. I announced Tabernac, and
Hmm.
I mispronounced. I think I mispronounced where they're from in Canada, and they both kind of yelled at me. I'm like, just feel free to yell at me. Like, don't worry about it. I'm not going to be upset over it. It's kind of fun because those are two big lumberjack looking dudes who could probably throw me like
Right.
20. Could probably throw me like 50 feet.
My favorite thing, like I planned it on purpose just to get a rise out of them, but um, oh, hyper poutine.
Hyperprotein.
Hyper poutine. I loved working for them because I announced them like Chelsea Green style. I'm like, they are hyper poutine, you know. Um, but it consisted of the it's a tag team, folks, consisting of the hype man Ray Racy and Jacques Louis Francais. But I really wanted to screw with these guys in my hometown just to see what they do in front of my parents. So I'm like, Jake, Louis, Francis. He grabs me like, you stupid American. It is try again. It is Jacques Louis Francais. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I went and like, I'm willing to try again. And so I just went and just laid it on thick with the Chelsea Green vibes and Jacques Louis Francais, like it was just you gotta have fun with it in this business. You cannot be dry and monotonous and just look at your cards and just be like, I'm gonna hyper poutine. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you have to have fucking fun with it.
That's
So
and that's something that bugs me when I see other ring announcers. They just look like they're not having fun. It's like you kind of set the tone for like the vibe of the room. Like you are the master of ceremonies. Like you are the one that makes like the wrestlers seem larger than life, which is like something I learned from watching Randy and watching Tony Chimmel and Rich Palladino. It's like they made everybody they announced seem so like massive stars, no matter who they were. And
mhm,
like you like, and it drives me nuts if I see somebody like just they don't have that. Like everybody announces in their own style, but it's like if
of
they
course.
look just bored, it's like come on, like why are you doing this if you look bored?
Right? Like, I mean, like you and I, like, I love watching you announce because you are put together, you're professional, but you just got that, like, your voice. I absolutely love it. I will never try to steal any of your pronunciations though, because, like, it's like that's the Ethan Scott thing. And I don't want people to be like, oh, well, Ethan does it this way. Who the hell am I kidding? I hear that all the friggin' time. But, which I just take it with a grain of salt. It's like, well, that's Ethan. I'm Meg Lavelle. I do things differently here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's our job to get the crowd engaged, to get them going. So I channel a little rock star. I just go like to town. I get them all hyped up. Like I want to be just as hyped up as the babies and heels coming out from that curtain. Um, that's what it's about. Like it's our job to set the tone for the night. If we're gonna come out and be like, cool, we have a title match, steel cage. Don't forget to buy merch.
Only person that could get
Cool.
away with that would be Orange
Wonderful.
Cassidy, just because he's just
Yeah.
freshly squeezed. Like Orange Cassidy could get away with it; it'd be perfect.
That
But
would be the only that would be epic as hell.
I want
Him
him
and
as a
like
ring announcer for
with
AEW
Tony
just once.
Storm as like the ringside correspondent. Okay,
Love
anyways,
Tony.
Super Squirrel. That is a tag team that I never thought I needed until I saw it, like a partnership. And I'm like, okay, this
They're
this I'm on for.
they're great.
Let me
They're
watch eight.
they're they're sorry. I don't mean to keep cutting you
No,
off.
you're fine.
They're they just have such good chemistry. Like they're so much fun to watch.
Yes. I love them both separately, but together it's just a totally like it makes me watch AEW again. Um but yeah, so what as we're wrapping up here, folks, let's see. We do have Looks like we actually have Ref Mo Tardy has a question for us. Our buddy
Okay.
Mo. We all love Mo. Follow him on social media. Favorite match you announced, Ethan?
Okay. Man. I think one of my favorite matches I've announced. Uh it was let me just double check to make sure I'm not like just making up a match in my head because I swear this happened. Pro Wrestling Grind. Two of my favorite teams, Violence is Forever and the main event. Yep, that it was that. I think it was them. Violence is Forever in the main event. And like I love main event. They're my boys. I'm super excited that they're coming to Limitless this month. I haven't seen them in forever. And they're just so much fun to announce. And Kevin Koo, I remember meeting him before he really blew up with Dominic Guarini and became Violence is Forever and being like one of the most dominant teams on the indies. And one thing I've always I wanted, like there were other ring announcers that weekend. It was the Restival. And one thing I wanted to do to add to Violence is Forever is I wanted to say peace is temporary, but violence is forever. So I got to meet up with Dom and Kevin. I'm like, hey, are you guys cool if I do this? And I was the only one to announce them that way. And it just like added my own little touch to it. And the match was fantastic because you have two phenomenal tag teams with the main event and Violence is Forever going at it. That's got to be one of my favorite matches I've ever announced. Also, anything with Alexander Lee or Mike McCarthy, because those two just crack me up.
I loved that when they were the tag team. Man, that
When
was
they were
amazing.
POS.
The what?
When they were POS.
Yes, that's it. Like I have the sticker like on our refrigerator of the dog like taking a shit, like POS. And then it's funny because I have like on the back of our door, we have pictures from our wedding that look like photo booth strips.
Yeah.
And then with each photo booth strip, I have I have Alexander Lee on one side because he's part of the family. He's pretty much one of John's like brothers. And then I have Mike McCarthy on the other side, straight up picking boogers, like on a ticket, like behind the other one. And
Of
I'm just
course.
like, John's like, I didn't know Mike McCarthy was at our wedding. I'm like, yeah, well, he is now.
It's McCarthy. Like you can't
Freaking
not like McCarthy.
everyone's like, ew, he's picking his nose. That's gross. And I'm like, that's fucking brilliant. Booga
It,
picka from Masshole. You know
he,
what I mean? Like,
McCarthy is one of my favorite people that I've met in wrestling, and he's just like I remember the first Let's Rumble back from COVID. It had been like I feel like I hadn't seen him for like 2 years, and got to announce him to the ring, and like he comes in, he looks at me like, and he just goes, "You look like you're about to cry." And I'm like, "I am crying, dude. I haven't seen you in 2 years." And he goes, "Oh, buddy," and he just gives me a big hug. Like if you watch that footage back, like me and him hugging, like that was like he was not expecting me to like start to tear up. It's like, dude, I haven't seen you in 2 years. Like I didn't know when I was gonna see you again because the world shut down.
right.
Like that moment meant so much.
Nothing felt better than a friggin' I call them the COVID hugs because hugs during the pandemic just hit on a whole different level, like totally different level. Um, but anyways, that's an awesome moment between you and McCarthy. I love McCarthy. Um, the last show that I was at Island Falls for Let's Wrestle, my husband was on the show. He actually went up against Eric Johnson believe for the title. I think there was a
Maybe
title or
I
number
think
one
so.
contendership or some shit like that. I don't know. It was a killer match, but Mike McCarthy and POS was on the show, and I remember Mike McCarthy, dresses like a punk kid and stuff like that, because he is, and my husband is also. And I remember he was in the ring. My husband was in the ring for a little bit, and then Mike was in the ring for a little bit, like practicing and doing stuff before the show. And I just remember I was with the wrestling wives. We were sitting there chit chatting and gossiping and stuff. And then I look over, And I thought my husband was still in the ring. He's back too. And I'm just looking like, like just said some really cheesy, like checking my man out kind of words, like, woo-hoo. Like, damn, my husband looks fine tonight. And then Mike McCarthy turns around and I'm like, that's not my husband. I remember, I'm like, thank God I didn't like physically act on anything. You know what I mean? Like going for a
Yeah.
smooch or whatever. Be like, oh fuck, that's not my husband. That's Mike McCarthy. But so two more final questions, folks. Actually, we don't have a ton of questions from fans tonight, which is totally fine. This is something new that we're trying. Superfan Keith Hartford. Ethan, do you still like being a ring announcer?
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's what helps me kind of get through the month. Like I, I've been doing a lot more like backstage interviewing with Limitless Wrestling, but any chance I get to actually be a ring announcer, be a part of a show in that capacity, I love it. Like it's definitely something I never thought I would ever do. Like if you asked like high school me, like, oh, you think you'd ever be a ring announcer? You'd probably say no. But
Right.
I'm very happy this is kind of how my wrestling career turned out to be. I've got to meet so many cool people. I've got to work with so many cool people, so many different promotions. I've got to travel thanks to, Daphne and Agro letting me tag along with them on the road.
Mhm.
Like, and I will always cherish like my time as an announcer. Like these are going to be moments I'm never going to forget.
That's amazing. And then, like I'm not like, let's knock on wood here. If something was to ever happen and I wasn't able to complete my ring announcing duties at MPW, I have an amazing person to stand in for me, and that would be you. I have that was another thing too. They were like, the owner of the promotion, Neil Day, was, he goes, I'm just letting you know you're not being replaced. And I'm like, well aware. That's right, folks. I'm saying it, I'm clarifying. I am not leaving Maine Premier Wrestling. Ethan is joining me. We are going to be the voices of Maine Premier Wrestling, working together to make an amazing show for you folks to watch in the future. So, with that being said, being brought on to MPW to bring back an old IWE staple, the backstage interviews and ringside work that our fallen brother Captain used to do backstage. Um, how does it feel knowing that you are going to help bring back an old tradition? Like you're bringing this what we thought was lost. You're bringing it back to life. How does that make you feel?
I'm honored to be able to kind of bring this tradition back. Like I've had a lot of practice like doing interviews thanks to being a backstage correspondent with Limitless Wrestling and working with Sam Laterna and like watching her how she interviews people in her work has really helped me out a lot. So being able to bring what I've been able to do with Limitless and bring it to Maine Premier Wrestling backstage, and I've never done ringside interviewing before, so this is going to be really fun. This is a whole new chapter for me. This is like I've done in-ring interviews with Ring Wars, but I've never done that like ringside. So this will be interesting. I'm really excited to do this, and I'm honored that I get to keep bring this tradition back and kind of keep it going.
That's awesome. And we are excited again, like I've said a million times, we're excited to have you be part of the MPW family and to work alongside with all of us. I think you're going to be an amazing piece to the puzzle. Because let's face it, like there's always room for improvement with companies. So let's just keep adding, more great things to the mix. And so Ethan is now an amazing addition to our team. Stay tuned more for that. So let's see here. Oh, we do have another comment here from Leanne Parent. Leanne asks, Ethan, what is one lesson about ring announcing you wish you had learned earlier?
Oh,
That's interesting.
not like kind of just roll with the punches. Because when I first started ring announcing, if I messed up, I'd beat myself up over and over and over. Like it would just completely tank my mood. But I've screwed up every now and then, but then you just kind of roll off of it, like have fun with it. Like my biggest worry during like the COVID tapings was Champ Matthews and Connor Murphy. Both of their names or initials are CM. And I remember announcing them. I believe it was them versus Waves and Curls. And I announced one of them as Connor Matthews. And I feel like that's the name of like one of the guys in Boy Meets World. And I say Connor Matthews, and they both look at me like, what? And I redid their names. And I went up to Randy. I'm like, that was my biggest fear, and that wasn't that bad. Like
Right.
I just kind of I'm like, well, let me just re-say it and keep on going. So just kind of like not let the slip ups kind of weigh on me. Like I've definitely like I continue to screw up, but I have fun with it. Like I just kind of poke fun at myself, and just keep the show on going.
Mm. I was gonna say I can't agree with you more as far as that goes. I myself have done that. I fuck up all the time. It's whatever. I make the joke. I'm like, if as soon as I catch myself like screwing up, be like, well, there's my one for the night. I'm good. Like I just roll with it. And halftime Randy Carver's like behind the sound going, sounds good.
As long as you like play it all, you have fun with it. You don't like kind of drag it on too much. Like it's always it's no big deal. Like
Yep. It's
like we're
like
all
I
human.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've even like one of my first it was like my second show I ever ring announced ever for another I think it was MEW. And I was announcing this match and the music got played wrong and I didn't know like something happened. Long story short, chick walks out. I announce her as one name. I think it was Tiffany Avatar. And it wasn't Tiffany Avatar that went through the curtain. So when Tiffany Avatar came out, I'm like, talent's so nice, you gotta announce her twice. You know what I mean? And just went with it. Um, but yeah. So to wrap up this amazing episode full of many glorious hiccups, but hey, guess what? There's still a bunch of you here watching, and we love you for that. Um, Ethan, what would you like your future in this business to look like?
I mean, ideally, I'd love to be signed somewhere, whether it be announcing or doing backstage interviews, just doing something in wrestling on like a very grand stage. Um, but if that never comes to fruition, I'd love to just keep doing this, just being an announcer. Hopefully, get back on the road, traveling to other promotions. Like as long as I'm involved in wrestling some way, shape, or form, like I that's where I want my future to be, because this has really helped me out through like some of the dark times in my life. I've met so many amazing people. Like I've got to do so much, and I'm so fortunate for that. Like what was who was once a just like awkward, edgy kid in high school that really didn't believe in himself. Like I can say I've shared the ring with now current AEW and WWE talent. I've got to share locker rooms with legends like the Hardy Boys and Tony Atlas and Tommy Dreamer. I've got to like just experience so many things that I didn't think were possible. Like as long as I'm doing this, I think my future's like that's where I want my future to be. I just want to be in wrestling in some form.
Grab your shades because your future is most certainly bright. So, um, okay, this Leon Parent guy, like, I really hope you're a fan because, like, look at this. Don't change, dude. You are kicking ass.
I've known him since like elementary school. Like I've known Leon for a couple decades now. We don't talk too often, but he'll check in every now and then. And he used to come to the Let's Wrestle shows when we had him in Orono. And if you look through like old Let's Wrestle pictures, there's a picture of him getting right in Mac Daniel's face and flipping him off. It is the funniest thing. Like it is like I remember like I remember just like somebody in the locker room putting out like, look at this picture. I'm like, I know that guy. That is fucking hilarious.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was gonna say those are like the best moments ever. Like, going back and watching old IWE footage and seeing my mother-in-law in the crowd and hollering at, it's ridiculous. I mean, like it even there's footage from the one of our Skowhegan shows that we did with Maine Premier Wrestling. It was Dirt City Murder Crew versus Team Show No Mercy, which is Lights Out Lee Miller and
Oh,
Johnny
yep.
Primer. And Dirt City Murder Crew, like I guess John said, like that's my mother-in-law, and pointed to my mom. And so Dirt City Murder Crew made sure that they dragged John over and held him down in front of my mother-in-law, was giving him chops and stuff like that, and then vice versa. And it was fun times. Like, I love it when we see like our loved ones getting involved in the business.
Oh
And
yeah.
and what I love most is seeing a lot of our friends and our loved ones popping up, showing up for us, supporting us, watching the episodes, bringing in comments. So Ethan, as much as I would hate to end this, our time here is drawing to an end because it's Friday night and SmackDown started 9 minutes ago. So, not like I'm counting or anything. Um, Anyways, so Ethan, for folks that didn't catch on the last episode that you were on, where can we find you on social media?
So on all of my socials, it is Ethan Scott 207. I am most active on Instagram, and I am trying to be more active on Facebook. So those are the two places you're going to want to follow to know where I'm going to be, whether I'm ring announcing, interviewing, doing commentary. If I'm at a show, you're going to know by following one of those two.
Most excellent. And folks, if you love seeing episodes like this one that we're doing with Ethan here, and you would love to see Ethan come back, follow us on YouTube and on Facebook through Friends of the Squared Circle or The Main Event with Meg Lavelle. And while you're on the Friends of the Squared Circle page, don't hesitate to check out our other amazing shows like Wrestling with Pride and Primetime with Legends, which maybe I might pop on. You never know. And maybe you'll see Ethan pop on. So, folks, again, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And remember, when you're here, you're the main event. Have a great evening. We'll see you soon.